Hello, Amanda here, the Resource Coordinator for the Workforce Centers of South Central Kansas, and today I'm going to provide the workshop for Intermediate Word. We have previously done one for Introduction, which goes over the basics from opening the program and basic character formatting and editing and paragraph formatting and so forth. That may be where you need to start depending on what your skill level is. So if you feel you need the introduction, I encourage you to locate that on our YouTube channel. During this particular session, we are going to cover some tools and resources that may make your life a little bit easier in the workplace or while attending school. One of the things that we're going to talk about is how to prepare a mailer, how to format a research paper, proofing documents, creating macros, how to protect and share documents, and how to use advanced options. Depending on what your role is at this current time and how you may be using Word, some of these things may be more relevant than others for you. But this is to give you a wide overview of the tools and resources, the more advanced features that Word provides. Please stay tuned and I hope you enjoy. The first exercise that we're going to do is preparing a mailer. And really what a mailer is it's a customized letter, but being sent to the masses, and a way to efficiently address and customize each letter per individual without having to go through and actually type the information yourself. So with preparing a mailer, you use a wizard and you also use a pre-created contact list to merge the letter and your contact information together to be able to send out a mass amount without having to take as much time as it would take to address everybody individually. So I will show you how to use the wizard to do such a task. The first thing we'll do is we'll go to the Mailings tab, and then we'll go to the Start Mail Merge group. We'll click the Start Mail Merge drop down, and we'll click Step by Step Mail Wizard. So here you'll see that we are going to have 6 steps to this. First thing it wants us to do is to decide if it's a letter, an email message, envelope, a label, or a directory. We're going to stick with letter, and then we're going to click Next to start the document. So for step 2, they want to know, how do we want to set up our letter? Do we want to use the current document, which is blank, start from a template, which we may have, or start from an existing document? I have a template that's essentially already worked up, but we're going to use start from an existing document. So I go start from an existing document, and now it pops up this additional step. Now we need to find that document or that template that I've already created. So I'm going to go to Open, and I saved it to my desktop, and I saved it under Preparing a Mailer Practice. So I'm going to double click it. So here's our document now. So then what we should be able to do once we've opened this is now click Select Recipients. And we want to use an existing list that we have. And in order to find it, I have to click Browse. I also saved it to the desktop under Preparing a Mailer Contact List. And that contact list was actually done in Excel. Okay. So it's going to populate this Excel information, and it will tell you that this is our mail merge recipients. It kind of gives what was listed in our Excel document as far as the headers and the information. Then down below, it tells you that you can refine this search or the list. You can either sort A through Z, you can filter out certain people, find duplicates, or find a particular recipient, etc. But we're just going to click OK because we want to send this mailer out to each of these people. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to step 3 of 6, which is to write our letter. First thing we're going to do is we're going to select place date here by taking our mouse, holding it down, highlighting it, and we're going to actually click delete. What we're going to do next is we're going to go to the Insert tab, and we're going to find our text group, which is right here, and we're going to find the date and time. Now sometimes on some computers you won't see it say date and time, you'll just see the calendar and the clock. So if you see that, go ahead and just click once. It will allow you to choose the format you want your date or date and time in. I'm going to go with the more traditional look. So I'm going to do June 23rd, 2020. And then I'm going to click OK. Once we've done that, we will do the same thing with place name here, highlight and delete. But now what we'll do instead is we'll click over here in the wizard address block. So what it's going to do is it's going to take all the information from our Excel address block or book and put that information in there. We can choose how we want the information to look in terms of his name. Just his first name, first and last, first, last, and put the junior at the end, first and middle, last, etc. You can also choose whether you want the company name to be there, if you want the postal address. And I'm going to leave everything the same. So this is what it's going to look like here in the preview screen, and then I'm going to click OK. Once I've done that, we will hit enter once. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the place greeting here. And I'm going to delete it. And over here we also have a greeting line in the wizard. So I'm going to click greeting line. And I can choose whether I want to keep it dear or to Joshua Randall. I'm going to keep it as dear. And then I'm going to hit enter again. So now what we can do is we can click preview your letters, and this shows you what the letter will actually look like. If you want to take a look at the additional letters that we've also combined to make this more time efficient, you can use the preview letters section and click the little arrow, and now you'll see that this name, address information changes. Finally, you'll want to click complete the mail merge. And then if you wanted to print, you would click print. And that's it. That completes the mail merge. This exercise will be looking at formatting a research paper. You'll find this probably most helpful if you're having to do any type of research papers, possibly in school still. So this may or may not end up being very relevant depending on what you're going to be using the Microsoft Word program for, if you're going to be typing, a lot of papers and doing research, or if it'll basically be for other purposes. So I have a template that's just already compiled for me to begin showing you within paragraphs. So this looks kind of how maybe a research paper may look. And we are going to first look at creating citations. Then we're going to look at inserting a citation and then creating a works cited page. If you're in college right now, I will tell you that creating a works cited page will save you a whole lot of time and headache. I know I hated having to do the works cited page myself. understanding the format that it needed to be in and things like that. And so this is a shortcut that you will definitely appreciate. So we'll get started here by first creating a citation. So you do that by, on the References tab, you will go to the Citations and Bibliography group. You will click the drop down. Okay. By the style to figure out, which style they want your citations in. And so it may be MLA, it could be APA, it could be Chicago, it could be any of these others as well. I know when I was in college, I think it was mostly MLA or APA. For today's purpose, we're going to click on MLA 7th edition. Now, if you do have an older version of Word, you may still have like the 6th edition, but that's okay. Just click the one that says MLA. And then we're going to select Manage Sources. This is where you can add a new source, and the sources that you enter, they will always stay in your master list until it is manually deleted. So maybe you're writing a research paper and next year you decide you want to use that same quote or whatever for a different research paper. You would actually still have it in your master list unless you've deleted it. So how you will add a source, you will click New. And then it's going to basically have you select, is it a book section, journal article, periodical, etc. We'll stick with book. It's going to ask for the author. So we will put in Bill Harris. And it wants to know the title of the book. And we're going to write Why Upgrade Microsoft. And the year, which is 2015. It also asks for the city, which we don't have, so we're going to leave it blank. And then the publisher, which is ABC Publishing. And once you have this information entered, you'll just go ahead and click OK. So now it's added this source to our master list, and we also have it on our current list. And so you can, click this if you want to delete it from your current list, or click over here if you want to delete it from the master list, etc. So this shows you kind of what the citation will look like, and also what the bibliography, when you do your works cited page, what that will look like, how it will be written. Okay, you'll go ahead and click Close. So now if we want to actually insert the citation, you will figure out, where you're wanting to put that. And usually what will happen is you'll put that after you've used, or summarized the information from that source, or used a quote from that source, etc. So we're going to place the insertion point at the last word in the first sentence. Before the punctuation. So, the last word in the first sentence before the punctuation. And what you'll do is you'll actually choose the Insert Citation drop down on the References tab. So References tab where it says Insert Citation, you'll click the drop down. And here it'll give you your choices. So if we had more than one entry, we would be able to select which entry we wanted. And we'll just go ahead and click Bill Harris. And so now what it did is it automatically put Harris in an open parentheses, close parentheses for that citation. So citations are surrounded by the quotations, and that if the citation is surrounded by a quotation, it means all of the information in the author's information is verbatim. If there are no quotations, like in this exercise, that means the information is reworded. So next thing that you would have to do is, when you're writing a research paper, at the very end of your document, you're going to list all of your sources and the books they were found in, etc. So we will create a works cited page. It says place the insertion point at the end of the document. So here's the end of our document. And it says on the Insert tab, go to the Pages group and select Page Break. So a citations page does go on its own individual page. And it says once the insertion point is on the last page of the document, so it is, go to the References tab. And in the Citations and Bibliography drop-down button, we're going to choose Works Cited. So you can choose bibliography version, references, or works cited version. We're going to choose works cited. And now it names our page, that is the works cited page, and it puts in the source the way that it should be typed in this MLA style 7th edition. And that, my friends, is how you begin doing a research paper and making sure that you give credit where credit is due. Previously, we did citations for a research paper and works cited page. Something that also might come in handy when doing a research paper or just a professional document in the workplace would be adding page numbers and putting them in the header so that they default on each page that you have, as well as inserting footnotes or a table of contents. And so we will focus on those 3 items in this exercise. I will start with adding page numbers in the header. To add a page number in the header, you're going to go to the Insert tab, and you're going to find the Header Footer group, and then you're going to click Page Number. We'll give you an option to select where you want the page number located: top page, bottom of the page, page margin, or current position. We're going to select top of the page. It'll also give you different styles of the way that the page number appears. We're going to go with accent bar number 1. So here it shows you where the header is going to be placed. Then what we're going to do is, after the word page, I'm going to go ahead and type my name. And then I'm going to hit tab twice. So what that does is now move my name to the right-hand side, and we've got the page number on the left. And to get out of the header, because you see all this is gray, you're going to have to click Close Header or Footer. So now that has been done. If we scroll down, you'll see that the page number changes, my name stays there. And if we continued on and we get to another page here, it'll automatically update the header with page 3 and my name. Next, we're going to talk about footnotes. So what really is a footnote? It's a way to add additional information that maybe you're not wanting to add within that paragraph, to call attention or point something else out that they can reference. So we're going to put our insertion point on the end of the last word at the end of the second paragraph. And we're going to go to the References tab. And in the Footnotes group, we can click Insert Footnote. And I may say something like, please refer to policies and procedures. So there's our first footnote. So if we go to this paragraph at the end of it, and we want to insert another footnote, whatever we may type, you'll notice that now this has a number 2 beside it. And so then you're going to go read the note that is associated with number 2. Same thing with number 1. And the footnotes will be generally at the bottom of the page unless you select differently. And so you can go to the footnotes dialog box and you can choose where you want your footnotes located, whether you want it below the text. So if we had it below the text, it would be right here underneath the paragraph, underneath the paragraph that we put the footnote in. And endnotes are entered the exact same way. You just click to insert an endnote. And with that, let's go to this one here, and let's say insert endnote. The difference between a footnote and an endnote is that a footnote will go to the footer of the page. An endnote will go clear to the very last page of the document. And that's really the only difference. It does the same thing. It still calls attention to that you have additional information you want them to refer to. It's just going to determine on the placement of where you want this particular reference located. Do you want it at the foot of the page or do you want it at the end of the document? That's the only difference with that. You'll notice this one did populate into a Roman numeral, again, so that if you did have both a footer and an endnote, you would know which point to reference and get the further information. So let's look at doing a table of contents. So with the table of contents, what you can do is if you have a research paper or book or whatever that you're doing and you want to highlight, where they can find certain things, what you can do is you can actually select all of the headings. Okay? And we're going to select all of the headings. And you do that by hitting Control and holding it down as you highlight all of these. And it says select all of them except for the very last one, which would be Read in Word. Okay. So I've selected all of my headings by hitting Control and highlighting them all. And then it says go to the Home tab, and in the Styles group, we're going to choose Heading 1. And it says position the insertion point at the beginning of the document. So here's the beginning of the document. And it says go to the Insert tab. In the Pages group, we're going to insert a blank page. So this is a review really from Introduction to Word where I showed you how to insert a blank page. So we'll insert the blank page. And so our blank page should have, and I did something wrong, so I'm going to hit undo. This is good use of undo. I really needed to be up here at the beginning of Microsoft Office 2013 when I went to insert blank page for us now to have a blank page ahead of that document. And so with the insertion point on the blank document, it wants us to go to the References tab. And in the Table of Contents group, here's our Table of Contents group. We're going to click the Table of Contents button. And we're going to go to Automatic Table 2. Okay. And so it populated this table of contents here for us. And it says select the last heading and choose heading 1. So let's select this, and I believe it's telling us to go back and choose heading 1. Okay. And then it says click into the table of contents. So I clicked it. Now we got this box. And it says update table. And then click update entire table. And now do you see what that did? You see how read in Word was, kind of tabbed over? It moved the read in Word so that it aligned. And now it shows that it's also on page 3. So that's how you would get a table of contents into your section. So we've gone over a header, putting in a footnote, or doing an end note, and how to do the table of contents. And the multi-selection to get your headers is Control and highlight them all there. So if you're able to find a document that's similar to this, you could practice what we just did by taking a document or typing up something similar to just practice going through the motion. For this exercise, we're going to be looking at proofing documents. And this might come in handy in the workplace if you're having to review somebody else's work and provide them feedback. And so it's a way that you can express your thoughts about what was put on paper in a comment section and allow them to see what your advice or opinion is about the content they have so that they can go back in and change it. We're going to look at how to insert a comment, how to navigate and edit a comment, and how to display it in the review pane. The first thing we'll do is we'll highlight the first sentence. And then it says to go to the review pane and then the comments group. Now we're going to click new comment. So if I wanted to make a comment on this, and maybe I thought it was too wordy and I needed to rephrase it, I could put too wordy, rephrase. Okay. And so you're just really typing that word or sentence here in this information. Let's go ahead and let's highlight the first sentence in the second paragraph. And if we right click, this is just showing you another way that you can add a comment. This will bring up our shortcut menu, and you could also click comment here. And I might say change 2013 to 2016. So now what you can do, once you have these comments here, if you're wanting to navigate between them, I can use my next and previous buttons or my delete if I wanted to change this. So I'm going to use my previous. Maybe I want to add something else here. And don't forget to add information about XYZ. Okay. If I want to go back down to this next one, I can hit next, and now it's taking us back down to the following comment. And that is really just how easy it is to navigate between the comments. There is a way that you can also view a reviewing pane, and it also tracks some of those changes. So we're going to look at that next. So it says from the Review tab in the Tracking group, so here's our Tracking group, we're going to click the Review pane drop-down arrow. So here's our Review pane drop-down arrow. And then you'll notice you have vertical or horizontal. So let's go ahead and click horizontal. So down here also shows us the changes the date and time when these changes were made as well. So now it says to make 4 changes to the document to see, how it looks in the review pane. So I'm just going to take away the word here. I'm going okay. So it's not doing anything. It's not tracking anything right now, even though I've made these changes. So there is a way that you can do the track changes. The key thing as to why we are not seeing any changes being made is you do have to click track changes. So now watch. I'm going to take this word professionally. I'm going to maybe make it bold. Do you see now it even says font was bolded? And then it also popped up this little box here. Or maybe I want to take this word out completely, like I did a moment ago to a word. Now it shows it in red with a line through it. So it will track those changes. But again, the key is this button has to be selected. And I went ahead and did vertical too to show you what that looks like. So then the vertical review pane is over here to the left if you were to change that. And that will sum up on tracking the changes. There's one last thing that you can do when you're tracking changes and once you get this document, and that is to accept or reject the change as well. So here under the review, the next tab over is the changes section, and if I accepted this change, it would keep it. If I reject this change, like to make it bold, it would take out the bold for professionally there. Okay, so that's how you can now, so there aren't any comments or tracked changes in your document. So I've made all of the changes to accept or reject those changes. If you want to make sure that the track changes is off, you don't like it showing those changes, just click it once more and that will turn it off. That will sum up then how to insert a comment, navigate back and forth between comments, how you view your review pane either horizontally or vertically, how you track changes, and how you accept or reject those changes. For this exercise, we're going to learn how to create a macro and how to run a macro. And macros, for those of you that may not be aware, is in simplest terms creating a shortcut. So if there's something you do very frequently and you want to be able to create a shortcut keys to be able to perform that function, you can do that with a macro. To begin, what we will do is we will go to the View tab, and then you'll go to the Macros drop down. And this is where you can begin to record a macro. So record your shortcut. You will have to name your shortcut. You'll have to decide whether you want it to be a button or keyboard function, where you want it stored, and the description. For today's purpose, we're going to call this shortcut Arial Black Red. Okay? And it cannot have spaces in the name, so it does have to be all one word. We're going to make this a keyboard shortcut, and this place where it was stored, we were going to leave that the same. So once I clicked keyboard, now you'll see that you've got a categories section, again where it's being stored at, current keys, press new shortcut key, and where the changes are being saved. And if I had written a description, it would populate down here. So first we need to see what key is available to create this shortcut with. So we're going to try Control T. Now, we aren't going to be able to use Control T because it's currently assigned to a hanging indent. So I'm going to erase this and let's try Alt T. Alt T says normal new macros Arial black. So that one is a previous one that was set as well. So we're going to need to try something else. Let's try Control R. Write paragraph. Okay, let's try Alt R. So Alt R, it is unassigned. So we're going to go with that one and we're going to click Assign. And now we can click Close. So right now it's recording, and we know it's recording because of this. It looks like a sad face to me, but it's actually a cassette tape showing you that it's recording this macro. So I'm going to highlight this table. Actually, before I highlight the table, what we're going to do is we're going to decide what we want the macro to be. We want the macro to be Arial black. We want it to be size 12. And I wanted the font to be red. Okay. Now what we're going to do is go back up here to View, and then we're going to click Stop Recording. All right. So while the macro was recording, we set up our preferences, our settings. Now I should be able to highlight this first table. And I should be able to press Alt and R. And what it did is it put it in Arial black font, size 12, and made it the color red. So this way, if this was something typically that you would do is put charts in an Arial black red font, instead of you always having to go through and select those 3 settings, then next week when you do a similar chart, you could just press Alt R and it would do exactly what you have designated for that shortcut to do with this macro. There's another opportunity to do the same thing without pressing the shortcut key that you can run a macro as well. So this is just an alternative method to the shortcut. So what we'll do is we'll highlight the second table. And this time what we'll do is under the macro, we'll click View Macros. And if we want the one that's Arial black red, I could just click that one and click Run. And it will also do the same thing. I'm going to go back to View Macros here just to show you a few other things. So Step Into allows you to open Visual Basic Coding View. You can create a new macro by clicking Create. You can delete a macro. And you can organize your macro by copying, deleting, and renaming them, as well as you can add a description here. So this exercise showed you how to create the shortcut or record the shortcut, and then how to implement the shortcut, how to use the shortcut appropriately. And now, if I were to share this computer with anybody, and I say, hey, if you're wanting your charts to be in Arial black, size 12 with red font, all you have to push is Alt R when you highlight it, and it will automatically create that setting. That's how the shortcut works. How to protect and share documents is important in the workplace, especially when you're dealing with confidential information and things of that nature. So today I'm going to show you how to protect a document as read-only, encrypt a document, check how accessible the document is, and do a compatibility checker on it as well. We'll start with protecting the document as read-only. If I decided I wanted to protect this document here, we would choose Info under the File tab. So go to File. Here's our info. And it's one of the first options it gives you. You can click Protect Document. And so you can either choose to restrict editing, so making any changes. When you restrict editing, you must choose whether it's formatting and editing restrictions. So we'll go ahead and do restrict editing. And then it's going to say limit formatting to a selection of styles, or editing restrictions allow only this type of editing in the document. So I'm going to put no changes, read only, for example. And you can choose, here are some exceptions and when you want to start enforcement. So yes, I'm ready to start enforcing this protection. And then I can protect it with a password. So once I put in the password and verify and click OK, now it should be protected from any changes. So I'm just going to click cancel because we're not actually going to do that for this. I'm going to go back though and do protect document once more. The other option is you could encrypt it with a password. So click encrypt with a password. You'll type in your password here, but you'll want to notice that if you lose or forget the password, it cannot be recovered. It is advisable to keep a list of passwords and the corresponding document in a safe place because there's not a forgot password option on this. And then you must always remember that it's case sensitive as well. So if you choose to go this route, be sure that you will remember the password, otherwise you will have lost the document and you won't be able to access it again. If you want to check the access, so accessibility checker, it checks to see if there are errors in your document. The accessibility check shows issues, warnings, and tips. So you should be able to do check for issues and then click check accessibility. So it also says it checks the document for content that people with disabilities might find difficult to read. So we will click that. And so it gives some errors over here, that there was no header row specified. And then it gives some additional information on how you might be able to fix those errors for potential accessibility issues. If you want to check the compatibility, it's similar. You click check for issues, and the compatibility checks for features not supported by earlier versions of Word. So if you were going to be sending this to somebody and not sure, what version of Word they had, you would want to check to make sure that it's most likely going to be compatible. And so this says no compatibility issues were found, but that would give you an idea if there were any. And I'll just click OK. So this just shows more information on how to make sure that your document is accessible, compatible, and how to protect your document from being, viewed by others who may not want to view it, or how to protect your document from changes. And the last exercise for Intermediate Word will be using advanced options. So you can personalize your Word, also customize your quick access toolbar and ribbon, and you can even customize the keyboard. And I will show you all of those things. First, we will customize or personalize the Word. So we will go to the File tab, and then we're going to click Options. And this displays the Word Options dialog box. And so you can go through each tab in the Word Options dialog box to see what options can be customized. So here's the general display, proofing, the save options, language, advanced. Looks like you can customize the ribbon here. The quick access toolbar, all things we're getting ready to go over. Add-ins, and the Trust Center. So with Word in general, you can change some of the interface. You can customize, how your name will appear on it, the background, startup options, things of that nature. Now, if you want to customize the quick access toolbar and the ribbon, we'll start with the quick access toolbar. The quick access toolbar right now on my computer is the save, the undo, and the redo. And you'll see that right now my current quick access toolbar, this shows you what I currently have there. But let's say I typically use my email too, and maybe I want that to be something I have quick access to. I can click email and then add. And now, once I click OK, you'll notice this little email button popped up here. Same thing for the ribbon. If we go File, Options, Customize the ribbon, you can choose which things you want to show up from the popular commands to the tool tabs. You can, add and remove certain things. So let's say M-Files, which I know is something that you guys don't have on your computer, most likely because it's something that we have internally here. If that's something we wanted to, take off, we should be able to then select this and click remove. Now, I'm not sure if my computer's just not going to let me do it because of my administrative privileges on this computer itself. However, on your computers at home, you should just be able to select this, and this should give you the option to remove or add. So if I wanted to add email again, maybe under the references section, I could click the add, okay, or the macros. So you can come over here and customize things that you would like to do. As well as you can customize the keyboard as well. So if we click keyboard, this will show you, bold. Your shortcut keys are Control B or Control Shift B. So kind of like those macros, you will see what those shortcut keys are assigned to. So for the customizing the keyboard, I'm going to try one of these for you. So we're going to click the Home tab in the Categories box. We're going to see bold highlighted. And in the Current Keys box, Control Shift B, if I click this and I click Remove, now it removed that as a shortcut. In the new shortcut key box, let's say I want to do Control Shift U. Control Shift and U. And it does look like this one has already been assigned to underline. But if it hadn't, we could then click Assign as well. And then you would just click Close. That's how you can use your advanced options to personalize Word, your quick access toolbar, and the ribbon, as well as your keyboard options. Well, that wraps up what we were expecting to learn today. I do encourage you still to practice some of the tips and tricks that I showed you. Maybe a little bit difficult without some pre-prepared documents, but if you can, try to create a document or possibly pull a document from another source to practice some of the things that you learned today, such as preparing a mailer, formatting a research paper, proofing documents, creating macros, protecting and sharing documents, and using the advanced options. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns. Also be sure to follow our YouTube channel as we continue to update and upload videos, as well as following our Facebook to stay updated on the latest events and information that we have to share with you all. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.